Let's talk about Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. So this is a film starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Dar Salam, and this is Guy Ritchie's second film of 2013, 2023. Forgive me. Operation Fortune, which we will talk about next time, came out in March. This came out in April of 23, and we'll get into that when we talk about that film. But this film, like I said, stars those two actors as John Kinley and Ahmed, respectively. And this is a soldier movie. It's about these two guys who are serving in Afghanistan. Ahmed is a local translator, basically going around helping Jake Gyllenhaal and his squad basically go around and say, hey, we are here to search places, or we're here to do such and such. And Ahmed, because all the people of Afghanistan speak a different language than English, Ahmed is sort of there to translate and interpret. And Jake Gyllenhaal is sort of like a bit of a no-nonsense kind of guy who doesn't necessarily see Ahmed's usefulness, but slowly over the course of the film, they end up in some deadly situations to where at first, Ahmed has to save Kinley, and then Kinley has to return the favor and save Ahmed. And this film is very much about brotherhood, about covenant. Covenant means, or to covet means like a promise or a bond. So it's about the bond of these two men who don't necessarily see eye to eye at first, but through some deadly scenarios, they become closer, and Kinley feels the need to go and save his friend the way that he saved him. And I will say this movie does start off a bit slow, and then there's a moment in the middle of the film where it's just like, okay. Because like at the beginning, it's like, okay, so I don't know how to feel about these characters. And Guy Ritchie and company are like slowly introducing you to this world of being an American soldier in Afghanistan, introducing you to the terms and the just what they're there to do. At least in this instance, what they're there to do. And then there's a middle portion of the film when Kinley is trying to, is at the very beginnings of trying to get Ahmed back to the States, where he's like, okay, I'm trying to go through the usual channels, but, I have to weigh my options and stuff like that. And I feel like those 2 points of the film are a bit noticeably dragging, because this is a slow-paced film, and I think I very much appreciate that about it. That it's like, okay, this is like a more dramatic type of action film. This is a soldier movie, not necessarily a war movie. And I can appreciate that, and I do like that. And this has some of my favorite hallmarks of Guy Ritchie's filmography, very great performances by Salam and Gyllenhaal. And, I think everyone else is really good. The guy from like Race to Witch Mountain and like the game, When the Game Stands Tall, that like blonde kid who's also been in the more recent Bad Boys films. I forget his name. Alex something, maybe? He is in this film as like a side character, and I think he's very good. I think a lot of the military people who are just in this film, I think, are very good. And Guy Ritchie is sort of, I think this is probably him at his best when it comes to directing action and stuff like that. And I don't know, this fits more with, and this is like in my top 5 favorite Guy Ritchie movies, this very much fits in with Wrath of Man, which is my favorite of his films. I also love Snatch, don't worry, I love Snatch. But this fits in perfectly with like my favorite of his films, which is Wrath of Man, where that is a slow, action movie that is more of a mystery film. This is a slow drama kind of action film. And I think they do a good job at having there be stakes and having you care about Ahmed and his family, and you care about Kinley and his family. Funny thing is, I actually know someone named Kinley. So I was just like, hey, John Kinley, I know an actual person named Kinley. She's like a third cousin or something. So like third, fourth. She's somewhere in that range. And it's like, oh, that's cool. And I don't know, like I like these characters, even though they start off very sort of like, they're very like, Kinley is obviously a very serious person who just tries to he's very serious and has things that he does like his way. And Ahmed is the same way, where he is a very self-serious person. And you're sort of dealing with these people who are very serious. And you start to emotionally connect with them when they start emotionally connecting with each other. And like, I think this film does a good job at making you invested with them. But I can see possibly someone not enjoying this film because Jake Gyllenhaal, while doing a good performance, it's more of a, you got to warm up to these characters sort of thing. So while I like this film, it is in my, it's currently in my top 5 favorite Guy Ritchie films. I'm actually very interested to sort of see how my perspective on his filmography changes, because I think I counted like 6 movies left, maybe 5 now. No, I think it is 6 movies of his left in my list of movies I want to review this year. But yeah, like I think that like they do a good job with this film. It's a slow burn. I think if you want something more entertaining, I would recommend Snatch or Wrath of Man. But if you want something that's, and I think this is streaming on Amazon Prime if I remember correctly. But if you're interested in something that's just like nice and has a bit of action, but also has a bit of drama and stuff like that, I think if you want to have something like that for this weekend to watch, I highly do recommend The Covenant. This movie does a good job at sort of introducing you to interpreters, because this film talks about how over the course of our time in the Middle East, now they're specifically talking about Afghanistan, but from what I understand from hearing about this sort of phenomenon, back when the United States of Al came out, that show was a sitcom about a dude in the military getting his interpreter to come in, move with him, and live with him in the States. It was kind of universally panned, but I remember watching one video from a soldier who said that he had an interpreter in Afghanistan, and and it was kind of interesting to sort of see the United States of Al introduce this idea that he didn't think a lot of civilians knew about, which is, overseas we have interpreters, and they are just regular people who are risking their lives to work with the U.S. government, to work with the U.S. military. And this film does a good job, I think, at sort of saying like, hey, we have interpreters there, and we still have interpreters there risking their lives. And, hopefully one day, because Ahmed's story is like a lot of people's story, hopefully one day these interpreters will be able to come and live in America like they are sometimes promised that they could possibly do. And I don't know, that's kind of nice, because I think it's very underhanded with that message. Not underhanded in like a bad way, but like, it's just, this movie is meant to entertain you and also be like, hey, there are these interpreters, and maybe one day they can become American citizens. So that's kind of nice. Yeah. So that's it for now. Like I said, I do recommend this film if you want something that's has some action in it, but is more of a nice sort of like bit of a character piece for these two men. But if you want something more fun and actiony, I do recommend maybe like Wrath of Man or Snatch or something like that from Guy Ritchie at the very least. Yeah, but that, like I said, I've said this a few times. That's it for now. Remember that God made you special. He loves you very much. I hope you have a very lovely day. I hope you had a very lovely week. I have, of course, more in store for you guys over the ensuing months, but just a quick little announcement. I will be opening up my ice cream business like next week on like the 1st of March. So the output of videos, just like last year, might be a little slower, but I'm still going to try to come at you every week with a video. That is my promise to y'all. And also, I might be able to do live streamings on Sunday. I will keep you posted. So yeah, God bless. I hope you have a nice day. Thank you if you are a soldier, whether active military or a veteran. Thank you so much for serving our country. God bless you. God bless America. And yeah, God bless y'all. Have a nice day.